Hi guys, it's Amy and you have found Amy Loves Crochet. I say that because when I started my channel, I thought I would just get lost in the recesses of this giant YouTube world. But you have found me, so I really appreciate you clicking on my video. Thank you so much to all the people who have subscribed. If this is your first time here, I just like to chit chat about my crochet with my friends. Hopefully I can inspire or motivate you to use a yarn that's in your stash that you didn't know what to do with, or maybe I found a pattern that you've never found before. And so yeah, just to spread some yarny goodness and cheer and community like feel here. So I hope you enjoy your time with me. Happy holidays, everybody, whatever it is that you might celebrate. This is a wonderful time of year for joy and love. And I just hope that all of you are well and that you are finding that joy and love in every single day. So I've got a completed project to share with you that I kind of thought was going to be the death of me for a minute there. I have shared with you the fact that I bought this toy box yarn on clearance, and you'll have to forgive. This is the time of year where we start to be cloudy all the time because of rain or wintry weather or whatnot. And my lighting in here is like a challenge each and every day, depending on what time of day I'm filming. So this one really did not want to show up because the word toy box is silvery iridescent-y. So it's a little bit hard to see there, but I bought these on a clearance. These each are 109 yards of 5 bulky weight, and they suggest an 8mm hook. So as you guys might know, with some bulky 5 weight yarns, you're suggested an 8mm, and on others you're suggested a 6.5mm. So this is of the bigger sort where you're suggested the 8, and I had 5 of this color, which is called Hula Hoop, I think. Yep, this one's Hula Hoop. And then, excuse me. And then this one here was the one called Lincoln Logs. I thought that was such a funny name. But it's, that orange is very vibrant. And you get a lot of different red and oranges and yellows in this one. There was even some, if you can see here, some greens and yellows down within the skeins as well. I'm going to link down below the video where I purchased this so you can see what all 5 of the hanks or skeins of each of the colors looked like. I mean, the hula hoop one, they really all kind of look the same to me. It was the Lincoln Logs that looked a little bit different to me, and that's just based on how the skeins are wound up, And like I said, do your math ahead of time. I put my cart before my horse. I put a bunch of stuff in front of the cart, and then I tripped my own horse. So it was kind of crazy. You've got to, these are numbers. It's all just a big number game. So when I tried to kind of just fudge it, and I'll show you what that means. So here is how my blanket turned out. I've got some squares here, and then I've got, so these are, I would count these as 9. And you've got to do it your own way. So in the corners, you've got a single crochet and then 2 chains and then a single crochet. So that single crochet I counted, and then all the way along every stitch and every chain that you do. So I called these my 9 squares, and then these ones were bigger. This one was a 31 square, or this one, see, okay, so that's another one. Look at me all over the place. That's how this blanket went. I started just making squares and said, I'll make it work. So I did use my pink L 8mm clover hook that is my favorite. I was working at both ends of a skein in some cases, just trying to make some squares and put them in places. I was trying to kind of work it like a puzzle, but my error was just in trying to change things up and do different things, and I figured this great patchwork would just be all crazy different, and I could find a way to make it work at the end. And I kind of didn't do that. I mean, I think, which is the crazy part, but I think I did kind of come to terms with where I was at with it. Found my counts out to be a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be. And once I started going with it, I was kind of excited. Now, one count that I never account for is if you've got 2 squares that are the same size, you know that those are going to be stitch for stitch. And when you don't have the same count of stitches, you can fake it a little bit sometimes if it's not too many different. And my favorite connecting stitch is the whip stitch, and I do back loop only. Um, I really, really enjoy the smooth, flat kind of look that it gives. And based on what color squares you're using, if you use a matching color, then it blends right in so you don't even see it. So like on my willow stitch blankets and stuff, I always did that whip stitch. My hexagon blankets, anything like that where you've got different pieces together, I use one of the colors so that you don't even see it. But that's just the pattern for the blanket is just a standard moss stitch. I happen to see it on Blossom Crochet. But the count that I'm talking about, so I had started to make some squares randomly. Like I made one of each color of the squares to see how big it would be. And I'm like, okay, that's what I've got when I do that. And then I made a rectangle out of one of each of the colors. So I thought, okay, that's what that's going to look like. And then I did this weird thing where I was starting from the square. I was trying to make it a rectangle. Like this one only has one extra stitch on the sides than here. So it's just a little bit wonky of a square. It's not quite a rectangle, but that messed up my counts as well. So I found myself to the point where I had this section here. It was kind of wonky. I mean, again, you've got to plan it out ahead of time. If you plan your work and then work your plan, you'll be successful. If you just kind of wing it, then you've got to fly by the edge of your seat the whole time, which is what Amy loves to do. But I had this section in here that I wasn't able to match up my pieces, and I thought I was just going to do like some back and forth stripes, and I'm like, I really didn't want to do that. So I happened to have an extra blue square, these ones here that I wasn't going to use, and as I started to frog it, I thought, I wonder if that would fit here, and it fit just perfect. And then I thought, how many can I fit across? And the 4 seemed to fit just perfect. But again, it's not stitch for stitch because, let's see if I can get in here. That one's really, it looks really bad on that, but I'm going to show you anyway. So, you know, you've got your count of stitches across here and your count of stitches across this square, each square. But then the connector where you do this back loop only, there's all the stitches, you know, this space of stitches that comes down like this. And I didn't account for that in this top square. And in other places where I just had to fudge it a little bit because of my lack of planning, then it, then you just kind of have to match it up and just kind of sew it together. So in some places, my opinion is it looks like it's pulled a little tiny bit. Like, I don't think I made this square very square. I made this a little bit wonky. It's a little bit pulled in this corner and then shorter on this corner, but whatever, it is what it is. I think that for the crazy that I turned out in between, you know, once I saw those little ones fit and that was the last piece to my puzzle, the angels just sang. So I'm super, super, super excited on how it turned out. It's very heavy. I did not make it like, you know, we talk about it being a baby color, or it's called toy box, so you think it's for a child. It's a heavy blanket. So either this is a, you know, maybe 10-year-old or something who lives in a really cold place where a really heavy blanket is going to be okay, or maybe it's just for an adult lap, because I would never want to put a younger child under this. This is super heavy. But yeah, I am excited on how it turned out. I hope you like the look of it as well. It is a discontinued yarn, so unless you have any on your shelf, I don't know that you'd be able to find any. That I saw some on Etsy or eBay or something last night, and it was really expensive, so I don't know if it was worth all that, because I found these on clearance for just $2 a piece. And so yeah, if you've got it, this would be a great use for it. If not, hopefully this patchwork type quilt, or, you know, look has maybe inspired you to do one in yarn that you've got in your shelf that you didn't know what to do with. Whether you're mix and matching colors, like this would be a great scrapping blanket if you've got some smaller amounts to put through. You know, if you started out with some common denominator of numbers and then did some division from there. Like, I really like the way we're on the other side. The four turned out, these 4 squares. I really liked how that turned out, and just thought, you know, if you had some math involved, then the rest of it would have lined up a lot better. See, like in here, I can totally see my ICs right there that I don't feel like that looks straight. But anyway, I'm not going to point out all the boo-boos on it, because I think it's a great finished result, and I'm super excited about it. You know, when you have something that's going to cause you a little bit of grief and then you find the answer, you're like, yes, 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 yes. Now, if you're like me, your eye is catching this. This is the moss stitch. And so you go around and then she flips it around so that your center isn't getting, if you do a continuous in the round, then your square starts to skew a little bit. So the trick to that is when you go to in a round, then flip your work and work the other way so that it keeps your skew from happening. But when you do that with a color changing yarn, I'm trying to pick it up, then you get this where you've come around. See, the blue comes around like this, and then instead of continuing this way, I flip the work and the rest of the blue is on top of itself. So I don't feel like it's a fair sharing of the colors. So maybe using this with solids, different colored solids, you wouldn't even see that. You only see that because it's a variegated yarn or a color changing yarn. So you see here again with orange. So it adds some color, character, right? It adds some different depth. So like right now, it's even too hot just to keep sitting on my lap. But sticking kind of with the bulky theme and trying to get some balance because I was working with so much fingering and smaller weight yarn that I wanted to kind of get into the bulky and, you know, mix it up a little bit. So I have some of this from a previous Hobby Lobby sale a little while ago, a couple years ago maybe, and I wasn't sure what to do with it. It is 110 yards each, and I had 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I on my fifth? Yeah, I'm on my fifth one. But I'm just doing the extended what's it called? The extended half double crochet, and I'm doing it in the back loop only. So it gives this great ridge here, and the extended half double just makes it a little bit longer. You're still doing it the way that you do a half double, but first you pull through just one loop and then you yarn over and pull through all 3. So it's kind of like you would be doing a double crochet, but I think that the way that you do this extended half double, it leaves a little bit more bulk to the stitch. You know, a double crochet is, I think, a little bit thinner. So if you want that to be closed up a little bit more, then you can do this extended half double crochet. See, like, I can't get past showing you guys stuff upside down. I don't understand. It is like not even 50-50. It is like 85-15, the number of times that I show you stuff upside down. So here is, if you can see it here, you know, maybe it's a little bit harder to tell with a variegated stitch, but when you do your back loop only, you get this little loopy doop up in front, and it gives a really nice ridge. And the extended half double crochet just kind of makes the work go a little bit faster. In addition to being a bulkier stitch, you're working up a little bit quicker. So I like that. So that's as far as I've gotten so far on that. This will be up next to my bedside to be working on just mindlessly when I'm in between stuff. So, all right, guys, that's what I've got for you today. I hope you're having a great holiday season. I hope that you get everything on your wish list. Have a wonderfully blessed day. Please come back and see me again. Thank you. Bye-bye.